Hello, people. So, today we're going to talk about this topic by Alan Watts. And I discovered this talk by his, I think yesterday night. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, he says that money is an illusion. And he gave some pretty solid points to back up that claim. And I am not entirely sure whether I agree with the concept or not, but his points are valid, and perhaps maybe I don't quite understand it myself. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about this, and in the process of me talking about this, maybe I'll come to understand this point a little bit better. See, what's the problem? The problem is that so many people are losing money right now, and so many people are scared to death right now. Income, no income, livelihoods are affected. There are so many things that is going on. What's the solution? Well, there's a solution that we can do on a individual capacity, but according to this theory, or rather this perspective, there is something that we can do as a society, and there's something that we can do from a nationwide or a global scale. And in fact, it must happen on a global scale in order for this idea to happen to succeed. And the idea of money is an illusion has many implications. It has so much implications in so many different things. I'm gonna start by telling you guys a story about that instant where one day all of the world's top banks at that time, like many years ago, Alan Watts told this story. I'm not entirely sure how true the story is, but it makes sense. So all the top banks in the world, they are so tired of trafficking gold from one continent to another continent, from one state to another state. So what they did was they got together and they hatched an idea. And they said that let's buy an island. And rather than spending so much money on the security involved in trafficking gold and getting it risk being robbed and etc. and so on and so forth, we are gonna park all of the gold in one location, and we're gonna set up shop. We're gonna open offices there, and every time one bank owes another bank gold, we're just gonna put the gold on a cart and trundle it across the street. So they invested, all these top world banks, they invested money into making this happen. And after this has happened, after they signed the agreement and all of the thing has, they spent so much money building the island up. And once this was done, all the money are secured in deep underground, heavy security storage area. So 7 years after this has happened, the heads of the World Bank, of the world's biggest banks, they said, let's throw a party in the island. Let's bring our wife and us and let's bring our partners and our children. Let's go there for a congregation. Let's go there for a meeting, right? Let's have a holiday over there. We can meet. We can talk business, but at the same time, we can also enjoy a good time. So they brought all their families. And this was 7 years after the whole island was constructed, yeah? So they brought the whole family, they go to the island, and they were inspecting the books. And as they were inspecting the books, they noticed that everything is in order. Everything goes very, very well on paper. The bookkeeping is spotless. Everything was perfect. And then one of the children said, "Daddy, can we visit it? Can we visit the underground storage? Can we see the gold? Can we see the gold?" And the president said, "Yeah, sure, let's go and see the gold." So the president asked the manager to take them to the storage location. And the manager started to delay, started to give all kinds of excuses. Maybe the children, maybe it's not a convenient time right now. Maybe we can do something else. I'm sure they didn't want it, but the president insisted. So eventually, they all got down to the storage location. They opened up. Lo and behold, all the gold were gone. Most of the gold were gone. Most of the gold, not all. Most of the gold were gone. And the president asked what happened. And the managers said that, many years ago, there was a sudden geological activity that caused all of the gold within the deep underground storage to be buried very, very deeply, and we're still trying to get it out. Oh. So all these while, the entire economy of the world, at that point in time, the entire economy of the world has got to do with the dealings of these bank systems trading gold with each other. And for so many years, the economy of the world wasn't affected just because the bookkeeping was in order. And just because the public at large did not know that gold was missing. So in other words, money is bookkeeping. And we all know that money, cash, is simply an exchange. It's an evolution of the barter trade system, where I'm going to give you this many ears of corn, and you're going to give me how many cows. And over time, there needs to be a convenient way to make a trade without actually carrying the live object to the buyer or the seller. So if that's the case, all of the transaction could be done actually without having to use any form of physical objects. So at first it was, coins, it was shells, and it eventually became coins, gold coins, silver coins, right, bronze coins, and eventually became paper notes, or before that it was gold, right, gold bars, etc. And now we have Bitcoin, where the entire economy of the Bitcoin system is fully digitized, and it runs completely on bookkeeping, essentially bookkeeping. And what is bookkeeping? Bookkeeping simply is a way to say, I owe who what. And what is money? Money is simply energy. It's economic energy. It's economic energy. It is a potential wealth. So just by having a lot of money, it doesn't mean that one person is wealthy just because they have a lot of money. Just because someone doesn't have a lot of money doesn't mean that they're poor. Sometimes you can have very little money but have very good lifestyle. And sometimes you can have a lot of money and have absolutely terrible, miserable life. So money in itself is not the wealth. It is potential wealth. Wealth is only created when you buy things. When you exchange the money that you have in return of certain services or goods. And that's where a lot of the fear is, because when you have a lot of so-called money, right? When you have a lot of money, what happens is that you have a lot of potential. Like you have a lot of flexibility. You can do this, you can do that. But the moment you decide on a particular service or a product, a chunk of the money is gone. It is irrevocably traded for a particular stuff. And here's the problem in that. The problem of hoarding money. The problem of hoarding money is that money can lose its value overnight. How so? Various different ways. So imagine though all those years ago, if the world knew that all the gold suddenly lost, the bookkeeping has to be changed, and suddenly all the currency would suddenly shot up or lose its values. The gold would, or the gold itself would increase in value. All of it will be affected. But if the world does not know what's happening, they can still carry on as normal. Because the money is in the bookkeeping. The money isn't in the form of a material thing. The money is in bookkeeping. It is in numbers. That is money. It is in numbers. So In the Great Depression, this is an example used by Alan Watts. What actually happened was that there was a lot of automation being happening, a lot of innovation, a lot of machines started replacing humans, and the cost of retraining obsolete workers were too much, so they were just let go. And a lot of people were starving, but at the same time, the production of American goods were at its all-time high. Goods were being pumped out at a significantly higher velocity or volume than ever before in history of the world. There's so much goods being produced, but nobody could afford anything. Nobody could afford anything because nobody have money, because so many people were out of jobs. And there was a huge redistribution of wealth from the lower middle class to the upper class. So the wealthier became a lot more wealthier, and the poorer became a lot poorer. And here's the thing about that, the situation with that is, what is the point of technology? The point of technology is to make life easier. The point of technology is to make life simpler. Like, you don't have to put in so much work. A lot of the mundane, unwanted work, you can just delegate it to a machine. And the machine will just do it unquestioningly without any complaints. So in other words, the energy that was put out by a human is now put out by technology. The energy that is put out by humans is put out by technology. And technology is supposed to make life easier, but now the people who are benefiting from the technology, right? The people who owns the technology, who are gaining a lot of money from the technology, they are saying that no, these people are all lazy. They don't deserve to get paid. You know, it's a ridiculous situation. Because the only way money can work is if money trade hands. If the money stop trading hands, nothing is gonna work. Even the people who are hoarding more and more money, they're gonna get more and more miserable. And people who are not getting any money, they're gonna face problems of survival every single day. And then we talk a lot about upskilling and whatever not. But the truth of the matter is, it comes back down to this illusion that you need to work hard to make money. That is the illusion here. You must work hard to make money. That is not true. It is this illusion held by the people with money that says, okay, you don't deserve this money because you're not working hard enough, or you're irrelevant and you're not having enough value. So, therefore, you don't deserve this money. But the truth of the matter is, technology is there to make life easier. It's just that these people who having all this money, they don't see other people as part of themselves. They don't see people, they don't care so much. It's like it's a very transactional relationship. You must earn your money. You must put in hard work to gain your money, and therefore then only I will give you money. The moment you lose value, I will stop giving you money. But that's not the way how things should be. Or rather than should be or should not be, I'm going to point it in another perspective. No amount of money is going to buy happiness. And people need to know that, especially people with a lot of money. No amount of money will buy happiness. Happiness is realized. Happiness is realized. It is decided on. You decide whether you're happy or not. What has money got to do with it? Money's got nothing to do with it. The whole idea about, I want to build a multi-million dollar, multi-billion dollar, multi-trillion dollar. Unless there is a need for that, unless there is a rational need for the service of humankind, the number of zeros behind your bank account is all simply meant to serve the ego. It's like, look at me, I'm so worthy. Look at me, I'm so worthy. I have an empire. Right? Look at me. I I have this business which is so successful. Look at me. I'm great. Yeah, cool, you're great. Until you realize that it doesn't really mean anything. You will receive a lot of adulation. You will receive a lot of fanatic fans, right? And fanatics who will listen to your every beck and call. But they are also enslaved by the illusion of money. So therefore, the entire relationship between the so-called love that was given to you will be completely dependent on how much money you have. Which means that the entire basis of the love that you're experiencing is also an illusion. So, what Alan Watts said in this instance, he said that there needs to be a change in the mindset. And this come, I think, from a very advanced standpoint, which I'm not sure the world is ready for. I don't think the world is ready for it, but if allowed, I would do so, because so many science fiction authors, you can see it, thinkers, right, thought leaders, they look at the future and they talk about not even it's not like a minimum wage, but it's more like a minimum allowance that the government gives to everybody. So even though they don't work, even if they don't work, the economy and the technology is advanced enough that they are able to feed every single person in the world. And hence you enter into a post-scarcity civilization where one doesn't necessarily have to work in order for them to survive, and that actually have a net positive effect on the economy. I know it doesn't make sense, but listen in. If you don't have to worry about survival, if you don't have to worry about your own personal survival or the survival of your family, how would you be spending your time? How would you be spending your time? So at first, you don't have the money to indulge and splurge, but you'll be spending most of your time on doing things that are meaningful to you. You will chase your passion, you will become more healthier, etc., etc. And then eventually you will discover what is your life purpose and what you want to do with your life and how you can contribute back to the society, etc. It's a very natural course of action. But the primary challenge to making all of this happen is the level of consciousness that humans have on a planet-wide basis. That is the biggest challenge right now, because everyone's bubble of consciousness is very, very small. So in order to overcome this is a very simple matter. We just need to work on ourselves. That's all we need to do. Because we cannot force people to elevate their consciousness. We cannot get people to take any action which they don't want to. We can only educate. We can only share what we think, like what I'm doing right now. We can only share, we can only talk, we can speak, but we cannot make anybody do anything. Passing laws and enforcing laws is the least effective way of ensuring compliance. The most effective way of ensuring compliance is to have alignment. Is to have alignment between between yourself and the people you're working with. And where does it start? It starts with ourselves. We can only work on ourselves. We cannot work on other people. No matter how much we try to work on other people, the only way other people can accept what we do is if they are ready to work on themselves. And the only way they are capable of working on themselves is if they realize that they can work on themselves. There is a way for them to work on themselves, and they give you permission to do so. And in order for that to happen, they must see your change. They must see your results, your improvements. Because if they don't see any change from you, all your advice will fall on deaf ears. So it comes back down to, personally, the reason why my hesitation with this idea is I'm not sure if all the facts mentioned by Alan Watts is true, but I sure hope it is. Because if all of those facts are true, if all of those claims were true, then all we need to do on a, we don't have to change the world. We just need to, all of us need to just change one person, ourselves. And if all of us change this person right here, then all 7.6 billion of us will be elevated all at once. And again, the idea is not to convince anybody. The idea here is to just do work on ourselves. And that is all for today. I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, tell me your thoughts about what I shared today. I will come back tomorrow. I hope my iPad will be here so that I can go on Clubhouse. Share what you think about what I shared. I'll see you guys. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy,